YouTube, what's good? Just Devon here with another tutorial. I'm gonna put this disclaimer out first. I want to first establish that in any way am I not claiming to be any sort of professional. I'm just explaining the best I can to my knowledge and my experience. So without further ado, we're gonna get into what I understand phasing and phase correlation to be, and how it affects your mix, or my mix per se. I'm gonna speak solely on my behalf. How it affects my mix. First, we want to talk about what is phasing. Being that I'm an electrician, I have an understanding of it. So essentially, phase refers to sound waves, or to simply put it, the vibration on air of the vibration of air. When we listen to a sound, what we're hearing are changes in air pressure. So just like a ripple of stone in the water, sound is created by movement of air, and just as in water, those movements cause a rippling effect comprised of peaks, and troughs. Those waves cause our eardrums to vibrate, and our brain translates that information into sound. So when we record a sound, the diaphragms in our microphones essentially, replicate, the action of our eardrums, vibrating in accordance to those waves. The waves, they peak, they cause the mic diaphragm to move in one direction, while through troughs generate movement in the opposite direction. So in this illustration, you can look at this as this being your left channel and this being your right channel. So this is what we would consider to be out of phase. And in this instance, you got sound playing in your left ear, you got sound playing in your right ear, and because they're perfectly out of phase, the sound will result in complete silence. So to fix this, all we would simply do is reverse one of the channels, and that will put it perfectly in phase, which will result in you perceiving what is sound. I'll give you an example of typically what that would sound like. I'm gonna mute this first clap sound, and then I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna mute the other one and then play it, and then I'm gonna play both of them together, and then I'm gonna show you exactly what's going on. So now I'm gonna mute this one. Now I'm gonna play both of them. There was no sound. That's because both of them are completely in phase. Now I went a bit drastic in doing this. I opened up in the utilities. If you go down to utility and put it on gain, I inverted the phase for the left ear, and I inverted the phase for the right ear to kind of exaggerate, to show you exactly what is happening. So if this is the case where you got sounds that are clashing, and they're phasing each other out, all you got to do is open up your gain, and you can try inverting your phases. Or another thing you could try to do is perhaps offsetting your sound. So doing that, you hear that sound like, and the crazy thing is like over the years, I would be listening, and I didn't understand exactly what was going on, but that sound right there, it's harsh. And often what I would try to do is I would try to pull up an EQ and start playing with the frequencies. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that it was phasing going on, and I just didn't understand exactly what was going on. So another thing that you can do is, out of habit, I always, I used to hear people saying, "Oh, you got to mix in mono. You got to mix in mono because you got to think about it." In 2020, and well before that, we're listening to our music through laptops. We're listening to them through cell phones, and most of those devices are in mono. So Yeah, it might sound good in stereo, but when you translate it into mono, is it's going to change the sound drastically. So what out of habit, what I do is I open it, I put an instance of gain on my master track, or the stereo out, and I would just turn the mono on and just mix in mono. That way, when I put it in stereo, all my sounds will pop. So by mixing in mono, it gives me a better hearing. It trains my ear and conditions me so that when I hear something, out of whack, I can go in and I can correct it. It's easier to correct most of these issues in the mixing process rather than in the post processing when you send when the track is a 2 track and you're ready to get that record mastered. It's easier to correct all of these issues when you have each instance um, readily available in your session.